Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I want to talk about the three key reasons, the three main reasons why ignoring Bitcoin could cost you everything. And I realize that if you're here listening to me and you regularly tune into what I have to share, then you're probably already on your way. And if that's the case, then I may be preaching to the choir here a little bit today, but please bear with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as we go along here today. But I'm sure you know people in your circle or maybe within your family who you wish would be paying attention to Bitcoin because you understand the problems that it solves. You understand that Bitcoin is here for a reason. As an escape hatch from a lot of the problems that we're seeing out there right now that are tied very much to the legacy financial system. And you just want the best for people. You want them to understand that there is hope, there is a life raft, there is an escape, and you just want them to start learning about this. And you know, Michael Saylor, who many would regard as probably the loudest and most iconic voice in Bitcoin, who's been the largest and most vocal advocate and teacher in Bitcoin over the past 5 years. You know, he often says that Bitcoin is a need-to-know basis. And essentially what that means is that people eventually will come to Bitcoin as they realize that it solves a problem in their life. And until that happens, people are just going to sit on the sidelines and not necessarily do the work on Bitcoin and pay attention to it. And I think that's very, very true. There's a lot of people out there right now who could be learning about Bitcoin, who could be deploying into Bitcoin, but they're not doing it because they feel like they don't need it. But I always say that I believe that people are going to come to Bitcoin either by choice or eventually by force. And this is really what I want to speak to today. And I've written 3 key points here today as to why if you ignore Bitcoin, it could cost you everything. And this is why. Number 1, your assets are not safe. If you have all of your assets, your 401k, your superannuation, your savings, your bank deposits, your real estate, your share portfolios, if you have all of those things tied to the legacy financial system, often referred to as the central control system, because it is a centralized system where the rules can be changed on you at any time and you have no say in that, and that has an impact on your financial life. If you have all of your assets exposed to that system, then they are at risk. They are at risk of rule changes, they are at risk of capital controls, seizures, accounts can be frozen at any time. And in an environment that we're in right now, where we're already seeing the signs, we're already seeing the red flags, we already know what's coming around the world in terms of central bank digital currencies and programmable money. We can see changes and threats to property rights as well that are looming on the horizon, and taxes and land tax and rates and all of these things that you and I have no control over are becoming more and more difficult to manage. And when that happens, people start feeling uneasy. They start looking at ways to dispose of their assets that are tied to that system. And I talk to people every single day on my one-on-one consultations on Zoom who are realizing this, they're feeling this, and they're making changes based on this. And most of them, of course, are deploying into Bitcoin. They're rotating out of legacy assets and moving into Bitcoin because they want to move from a central control system into a decentralized system of freedom and autonomy. a system that cannot be controlled. And this is exactly what Bitcoin is. And so every single week I talk to people from all walks of life who are either getting started in Bitcoin, who are rotating their underperforming industry super fund into an SMSF so that they can acquire Bitcoin and take it into self-custody so that they are the custodian of their own wealth, autonomously disconnected from the central system. People who are already in Bitcoin perhaps have made a few mistakes, looking to take things to the next level in terms of acquiring Bitcoin, stacking Bitcoin, securing their Bitcoin, self-custody in the right way so that you can sleep at night, maybe setting up a succession plan so that if something happens to you, your Bitcoin is safe. All of these things are conversations I have with people every single day now. And so if you need a call with me, please book a call. You'll see a link in the show notes. It'll be the best hour that you'll spend, I'm sure, and you'll see the evidence of that by just looking at the comments on my booking page based on the feedback that people give me from those sessions. So please don't hesitate. If you've been waiting, sitting on the fence, just book a call with me. You'll get so much value from it, I promise you that. But number one, here's the first reason why ignoring Bitcoin could cost you everything. Number one, your assets aren't safe. Your assets aren't safe. And I can't emphasize that enough. I talk to people all the time who are having trouble now getting their money out of the bank. They're being told by their bank that there are limitations to how much they can withdraw of their own money. There are restrictions as to where they can send their money. And I'm not sure what you need as a warning sign or a red flag, but that should be deeply concerning for you. And this is the kind of stuff that's happening now. We're starting to see ATMs close down everywhere. There's less and less ATMs. I believe pretty soon we're going to see big bank branches start to close. Everything is a sign that we're moving to a more centralized system, and this is going to have a big impact on your holdings, your assets, your savings, your superannuation, your properties, your share portfolios. Every asset that is exposed to that system, in my mind, is under threat. I really believe that. And so Bitcoin flips the script because it enables you to opt out of that system and to take sovereign control of your own wealth. You are now the head of security of your own financial life. You are now your own bank. You are now the custodian of your own assets. And there's a reason why Bitcoin is constructed and engineered this way. Because in 2008, in the GFC, much of the middle class around the world got completely rug pulled in that environment. And so the release of Bitcoin into the world in October 2008 was like a middle finger to the establishment, to the legacy system. Enough is enough, no more. And we've had 16 years to learn about this. And it's only now that people are starting to understand what it is. Bitcoin is the life raft, it's the escape hatch, it's the opportunity for you to walk out of the jail cell. And Jeff Booth often talks about this, and I think it's a brilliant analogy. Right now you've got people around the world, in this country, in the US, Canada, other countries, in the UK, Europe, and they can feel the constraints, they can feel the uneasiness. They feel like they're in a jail cell. Life's getting harder, not easier. Cost of living crisis, housing crisis. Politicians are becoming more and more controlling. And everybody feels like they're in a jail cell. And everybody's complaining and feeling uneasy and pointing fingers. But all the while over there, you can see that the jail cell door is sitting right open, wide open. But people are still staying constrained because they're not prepared to walk out of the jail cell. And this is what Bitcoin is. It's the ability for you to opt out say enough's enough and just peacefully pack up your shit and walk out of the jail cell so that you don't have to feel this anymore. And so what's it going to take for you to notice that the door is open and all you need to do is walk through it? Such a powerful analogy. And that's exactly where we are now. And thankfully, people who are feeling empowered and they're saying enough's enough in their own life, they are taking action and they're noticing that the jail cell door is open and they're walking right through it. And I find that really quite inspirational that more and more Australians are starting to do that. So your assets aren't safe in the central control system, which means that you need to opt out of that and start moving into decentralized assets. And Bitcoin is the most decentralized asset of all. The opportunity for you to be in complete control of your own wealth. No counterparty, no permission required, no risk of seizure, peer-to-peer value that nobody can stop, that is completely transportable anywhere in the world at any time, and nobody can stop it. Number two, the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost. This is the other reason why ignoring Bitcoin will cost you everything, because there is an opportunity cost for you to stay stuck in the legacy system, for you to stay in the jail cell and do nothing about it. If you're stuck in the jail cell, you are realizing that life is getting harder, not easier. Michael Saylor refers this as the road to serfdom. You are working exponentially harder for a currency that is growing exponentially weaker. Through no fault of your own, life is getting harder because they are stealing from you. Your financial energy, everything that you're outputting of yourself into this world, getting up every day, adding value to society, being productive, exchanging your skill set, your knowledge, your capital, whatever it might be for this thing that we call dollars. Not realizing that these dollars are being diluted. The value of the dollars that you earn every single day that goes by, you are not able to store that financial energy in a system that can't be corrupted. So for as long as you're in dollars, you're selling out your purchasing power, your financial future, whatever you want to call it, however you want to term it. And this is why Bitcoin exists, because it enables you to now store that energy, that income, that revenue into something that is going to protect and preserve your financial energy, your purchasing power, your wealth, whatever you want to call it. So there is an opportunity cost for every day that goes by that you ignore Bitcoin is another day that you're allowing this system to sell out your financial future. And so how many days is it going to be before you start taking action? It doesn't matter how small the action is, it has to be some form of action. Because when you start, you're going to start your learning journey. Where you start is not where you're going to finish. I always say, start low and grow. Start low and grow. Start low with your learning, start low with your deployment into Bitcoin, start low with your learning the skills. And as you learn more skills, you're going to grow those skills. You're going to grow that knowledge. You're going to grow that conviction. You're going to grow your deployment into Bitcoin. That's how it works. And so I can't give you the conviction I have in one video or even in a series of videos. You have to be prepared to say enough's enough in your own life and to step outside of the jail cell to begin your journey, no matter how small that may be. And so there is an opportunity cost for you to continue to not do that. And eventually the pain is going to get so great that you're going to realize that you now no longer have a choice. You have to do it by force if you care about any semblance of freedom in your life because of what's coming. So, The other thing to understand is that the cost to exchange your pieces of paper, your dollars, be it Australian dollars, US dollars, Kiwi dollars, euros, pounds, whatever currency it is for you, the actual exchange rate for you to change those worthless dollars into Satoshis, into Bitcoin, every day, every month, every year that goes by, it gets more and more expensive. And so this is why I keep saying, it's important, if you resonate with Bitcoin and you're on your learning journey, don't wait because you think you have to learn everything about this before you start acting on it. All you need to do is read one book, listen to a couple of long form podcasts, learn enough to know that this is the future, this is the way forward, and then start, and then continue your learning journey. You'll never know or learn everything there is to learn about Bitcoin because it's just a never-ending rabbit hole. It's a never-ending journey. And so don't feel like you're not going to start until you learn everything there is to know, because you'll never start if that's the case. Number 3, then this is the final point I want to make today, the paradigm shift. Bitcoin is a paradigm shift, and you have to understand that it's something that's actually happening now. It is imposing itself on the legacy financial system, whether you like it or not, whether you join the network or you don't, it really doesn't matter. Bitcoin is imposing itself on this legacy financial system, meaning that the sooner you pay attention to it, the sooner you'll realize that something that is imposing itself on a broken system means that when you start getting involved in that system that is imposing itself, your life starts to get better. And this is why people who are in Bitcoin, who price their life in Bitcoin, who price their house in Bitcoin, who price their share portfolios, their insurance policies, their petrol, their groceries in Bitcoin, what do they notice? They notice that over time, the cost of living is going down, not up. The cost of living is going down, not up, when you move over to the world's first global free market. Bitcoin is a global free market, the first of its kind. We've never lived in a true global free market, because if we did, the price of things would go down, not up. Because in competition, economies of scale, technologies, as human beings, we get more and more efficient at producing things. And so costs fall when we're in a free market. The reason why costs aren't falling, the reason why that efficiency that human beings have a natural propensity to create over time, the reason why that efficiency hasn't translated into falling prices over time is because the money is broken. The money is being debased. We live and price ourselves and our world in an inflationary currency that is being corrupted. And that's why we don't live in a free market. So when you start moving into a system of money that can't be debased, that can't be corrupted, cannot be printed, what do you notice? You notice the truth, and that is that the price of things over time does what they're meant to do in a free market, and that is fall to the marginal cost of production. And this is why when you price houses in Bitcoin, what do you notice? That house prices are actually falling, not increasing. And I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but the more you learn about Bitcoin, the more you realize that that's what it is. And it is imposing itself on this broken system, and it is actually designed to do that. And so the question for you is, how long are you going to leave it to start your Bitcoin journey? If you're already in Bitcoin, how much longer are you going to wait before you start taking this seriously? We're going to move from Bitcoin as a store of value and being recognized purely as the world's best store of value, as has been the narrative for the past 5 years. We're about to transition into a new phase where Bitcoin is going to be utilized for its original intention, and that is as a medium of exchange. And if you go back through history, what you notice is that This is the path of money. It typically starts out as a collectible, then it transitions into a store of value, and then it transitions into a medium of exchange. And Bitcoin is going to become the world's first global free market, where you and I and others are going to be able to trade value peer-to-peer with no counterparties and exchange value at any time without permission. And that is a very, very powerful thing, and it's happening very, very soon. It's not something that's way down, a decade on the horizon. It's actually happening now. And so these are the costs associated with ignoring Bitcoin. You're going to be subjected to more and more control over your assets if they're exposed in the centralized system. There's going to be an enormous opportunity cost for every day and month and year that goes by that you're not paying attention to Bitcoin. It's going to get more and more expensive with translating your fiat currencies, your dollars, into Satoshis, into Bitcoin. And you're also going to miss out on a global circular free market economy where your life is just going to get better and better and better the more that you start playing in that economy. And if you choose to ignore it, you won't even notice it. You won't even get the chance to do it. You're just going to find that life continues to get harder and more controlling in the debt-based system. So I want to leave it there today. I hope you got some value from that. I know that it's probably a little longer than I would have thought, but let me know what you think in the comments below about all of that. If you need to book a call with me, you'll see a link in the show notes. I'd love to meet you on Zoom, and I can help you on your way, on your Bitcoin journey, with the next best simple steps based on where you're at. Other than that, I want to thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.